Yo, what's up everybody? It's Drewberry. I am here with a special little bonus video because in the last patch, something that kind of came to light a little bit later than the typical data mines is that there was actually a new split discovered. Now, really quickly, for those who aren't familiar, in Marvel Snap, you can upgrade your cards, and once you get them to infinity, which costs a bunch of credits and boosters, and then it has this really nice bordered effect, which you can actually see on the Rocket Raccoon to my right, you can then choose to split the card and essentially reset your progress on that card, but it has a changed or an altered look. Usually this involves some kind of prism, or on the rare end of things, it can look like an ink, a black and white version of the card, or a gold background. And the one that was recently discovered is named Galaxy, and it's got this backsplash of space looking galaxy. Looks pretty fresh. I think it looks pretty cool. I guess when I first think about this kind of a split, I'm thinking it looks like a lot of the backgrounds that are naturally on cards, on just the base art of the card. So how would those look if they had this galaxy look to the background? And then also on top of that, is it going to be animated? Are we going to be like roaming around and maybe even planets go by or something like that? It could be really cool, I think, but it also could be a bit underwhelming. And apparently the rarity of this split is coinciding with inks and gold, so it's quite rare. You typically have to split a card about 6 to 7 times until you have an opportunity, not a guarantee, an opportunity to get one of those splits. So it's going to be pretty rare, and we do know that Second Dinner has confirmed they have a lot of plans for adding more splits in the future. So I thought it'd be fun, and the Berryverse thought it'd be fun if they went ahead and just made a whole bunch of splits. Future possibilities, and I have some really cool creations to show you guys here very shortly. But really quickly, check this out, okay? Joyboy from the Berryverse Discord. If you want to join the Discord, by the way, link in the description below. But Joyboy, on December 3rd, 2 days before the patch went live, before anything was data mined, made this split just for fun because they say that they love space, so they made a cosmic finish. And if you look at that one, it's a little bit more faded, but it's pretty on par with what ended up being data mined. So I thought that was pretty epic that Joyboy just absolutely shot called this one into existence. And there you go. So now it's actually going to be a type of split. So well done, Joyboy. That was pretty sick. But let's check them out. So we're just going to cycle through them. This is going to be a real quick video. I even made some myself. But here we have Infernite's Diamond Split. This is probably one of my favorite ones. I would love to see this come to Marvel Snap. It looks so clean with Silver Surfer. I mean, this could look really good in a lot of different variants and cards. It's kind of reminiscent of the Prism, right? We already have this like rainbow Prism effect, but this one's just really focusing in on the reflectiveness and the purples and the blues, and I think that could be a fun base split, you know, not just one of those rare ones. I don't think they all have to be rare like ink and gold. Like if we could mix up those early ones as well, I think it really diversifies the collection. So really like that one. Then we have AKG's full foil split. This looks sick. So this would have to be like an ink or gold rarity because this is just crazy. And I also want to point out, while I do really like the look of these, I'm not even a huge fan of splits in general. I like the base art of the cards, but I think having the option of taking a card that you really like and making it look this way is fun for the game, especially if you get one of those little emotes in the game, little card emotes, and it's like kind of a shout out from your opponent to you, like, hey, that's pretty cool. It's like, thanks, man. I'm about to beat you for 8 cubes. But here we have Galactus and Silver Surfer. Now, these aren't actually variants in the game. AKG just went with other card art. Actually, in fact, that is a Jim Lee Galactus. But regardless, this is a really cool way to do splits because it's the basic foil that we already know in the game, the backsplash anyhow, but you're just translating that to the card, the art, the character itself. So the whole thing, the whole package just comes together. The border as well is a custom border made by AKG. So that's not in the game either. It's kind of like a spin on the ultra border, but still so clean, so cool. Comment below which one is your favorite and which one you would like to actually see in the game. Here we have a couple more by Infernite. I just loved the variation here. So he's kind of got like the one on the far left. I know it doesn't look too different, but if we were to dial it in, it's kind of got this old school retro look, faded look to it. The one in the middle is, he was calling it a paint variant. So you can tell that the texture is a little bit different on that one. I think that looks pretty awesome. That would be cool to see in the game, especially because you can keep the colors of the card, but still affect it in a way that you know it's different. And then we have the Cheeto Infinite. I thought that was pretty funny. You're going to see in a bit they were making a bunch of cheese variants, so he came up with the Cheeto for the Infinite. But I actually just totally dig this color palette. It's giving me Halloween vibes, and I think it looks so cool. I think it'd be also cool if they did like seasonal things where like if certain variants could change colors, like depending on the season, like Halloween, just for a day, a 1-day spin, and then Christmas as well. You could get some reds and greens or something like that. Then we got Scrunch. So Scrunch did something kind of unique here with the so you can have a bunch of splits and the background can change and the character can change, but you can also have Kirby effects or just these effects on the background of the card to give it a little bit more of a flair, and that's what Scrunch did here. So he's got like this kind of paper mache, the cutout version. So I could imagine that if it was animated, it would rotate around and kind of like a saw blade around the card. I think that looks pretty fresh. And then on the far right, just another kind of glow with a Kirby crackle kind of look. I think that looks pretty clean. It looks pretty fun. But the one in the middle I thought was the coolest. So this is a ghost. That's what he was calling it. And it's a very hyper blown out, faded look compared to the typical inks that we know today. They're a little bit harder on the contrast, a little darker. This is much brighter. And it looks really cool with the demon. So I thought that was pretty clean. It would probably not be able to join the game because it's like way too close to inked, but still I thought it looked sick. And then we got my split. So I wanted to dabble in this once I saw everybody jumping in, and I was leaning towards Spider-Verse, but of course it's the Berry channel, so we got to call it the Berryverse splits, you know what I'm saying? But I wanted to give that like glitched out look. I tried it with a few variants just for fun. I wanted to see what it looked on like a Dan hip, and I think the green looks really cool in the background, but you can't really tell that it was like glitching out. The Moon Knight you could tell was glitching out, but the colors I wasn't too in love with because it was tough with the white in the background. Still pretty happy with the look of that one. I thought it was pretty neat. But gosh, my favorite got to be these the Rocket Raccoon and the Deadpool. The Alex Horley Deadpool and the Ryan Gonzalez Rocket Raccoon looks so sick. I'd be pretty fired up to have that Rocket. Looks great. I mean, the base art steals the show alone. But a little bit of a Spider-Verse, Berryverse glitchy effect in the background. Again, that's one that I would like to see that would be like a base, like it could happen pretty early on. And I wouldn't be surprised if the next time, you know, like the third trilogy Spider-Verse movie comes out, that they decide to add more of those characters. And if more splits are being added to the game, they should definitely do something like this and throw it in there. But yeah, I just came up with that real quick. And then we also got Jesus with the comic split. I think this would be a very popular one that a lot of people would enjoy. We also have those retro comic style variants coming to the game for like High Evo. There's a Man-Thing one. There's a Galactus, a Thanos. They look awesome. And I think it's such a great throwback. I think it'd be even, you could take it a step further if possible, where all the comics in the background would be dedicated to that specific character. That would be fire, but probably hard to code and hard to implement. But this looks pretty good on its own right. I know it looks a little bit jarring because the character doesn't make sense at all. That's actually how the variants work in the game. Like a lot of the time, like with the gold splits, it's just like the character's just floating there because the background has dissipated into gold. So sometimes it just looks a little bit funny, but it's rare, right? And that's why I think a lot of people like it. I like it for the Silver Surfer, the Jeff. He's having a good time with his comics, and it looks pretty good. And then on top of that, we got the cheese splits. Oh yeah, there we go. We got the cheese background, which looks great with Jeff and all his food. But this was just a little bit of a joke that everyone was having fun with. But you never know. I mean, it's kind of like the gold background is basically what it is. But it's cheese. It's cheese. It's so much better. It'd be so epic to get a cheese split. And you know what? I'm going to bring it into a more serious tone. That kind of becomes almost a problem the more splits that you implement into the game without the ability to customize the cards, which we do think is going to come eventually. But if there's more splits, then there's less chance that you're going to get to that split that you really want. So they're going to have to kind of fine tune, figure out a way to make that work. Can't just have a full cheese collection out there. You know what I'm saying? All right. Next up, we have Lady Deathfalc's Advanced Ink variants. I love this. This is so good. Possibly my favorite out of everything I'm showing you guys here, because the inked look great. Don't get me wrong. They look fantastic. But what I see a lot of people doing is they'll stop on the border of that respective card, or they just leave it at a common border because the black-white palette mixed with the gray common border looks really good. I like a little bit of color though, and I think when you add that to the accenting effects of the character, it just looks epic. Like Hazmat's radioactive power balancing between her two hands, still getting that animated look, and the yellow coursing through the ink looks so good. The Eliath, purple electric bolts through the cloud looks so good. Invisible Woman's hands there, Galactus with the green. Oh, I love that green coming out of the eyes for the Kin Jacinto. So good. And Psylocke's blades, the Loki one, probably not, but I like that it's subtle. I kind of like that subtle gold crown he's got on his head. The Firestar, the fire coming out from the logo and the beneath looks amazing. And then Dazzler, of course, like gives Dazzler something here, but that's her whole MO. Like that's her thing, having all those rainbow colors coming out of her hands and her mic and all that good stuff. So I think these would be great. I would really like this. And you could still have this right next to ink. You could have like, oh, there's an X amount of chance of having a fully inked variant, then an X amount of chance of having an ink with color, advanced inked, whatever you want to call it. I would love to see that in the game. I think it looks pretty clean. Then next up, we have a bunch from artists, and these are the last ones I got to show you, but there's a whole bunch here that are really cool. You have the gold finishes here. So you have the ink on gold finish on the top left, then you have the gold finish in the middle, and then you have gold on ink finish on the right. Just kind of an array of different options with using gold or ink. So good. Oh my gosh, I love the idea of mixing them. That looks amazing, because right now you get inked or you get gold. You can't really mix the two. It looks so good either way. I don't even know which way I prefer it. It would depend on the card, but like given these cards, they look amazing in their own right. Then you got the diamond finish on the bottom left. I think I liked Invertites a little bit better with this, but the blue, the color palette here is pretty cool. The glow burn finish is amazing. It's kind of got that pink hue on the back. Looks great with that Scarlet Witch. And then the inverted finish, that's kind of funky, but I don't know. It's fun. The more you put this kind of stuff, the more unique everyone's collections is, and it gets pretty neat. So then you got a few more here. So you got Ruby Finish, Glitch. I already tried that, but Artist has some pretty cool ones here too. All kinds of glitches. Diachrome, a comic with just like a background and the character like with the out. Looks like a thumbnail. You know what I mean? That looks like a thumbnail with somebody's goofy face. You know what I'm saying? And then more glitch finishes. Very, very cool. I like the Diachrome. That looks great. And then lastly, you got the all color rainbow. It kind of looks like a prism foil. That looks really clean. Dark finish. I could get behind that. Like we got gold backgrounds. How about just black? Infinite space black dark finish. Ooh, that could look sick. And then with the dark inked, ooh, mix it up. That looks so good. The comic's still a little bit goofy in my opinion, but still neat, something different. And then the muted and the inked diachrome are all pretty cool. But there you go. That is all the custom ones made by the Berryverse. I thought they were pretty cool. I wanted to share those with you guys. But of course, the main feature is the one that's actually coming to the game. We don't know when. We don't know how rare it's going to be. But this Galaxy split, it's coming. It's coming. It's going to be the next split to join Marvel Snap. So anyways, let me know which ones you guys thought were pretty cool, what you'd like to see in the game, and if you're excited about this Galaxy split. Thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you guys next time.